Oh man, music to my ears. Andy Ruiz, new unified champion, says after this Joshua rematch, he's going to pursue Deontay Wilder and check with the WBC. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Well. The heavyweight division is lit. Boxing, are you in good hands? Like Allstate, boxing is in a very good place, and I'm looking forward to it. Andy Ruiz, the unified heavyweight champion of the world, he needs one more belt to become undisputed. And it's no easy task because that one belt is held by Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and he's so frustrated. I want to talk about some quotes from Andy Ruiz Jr., first ever Mexican heavyweight champion of the world. And not only did he win, he did it in a major way. Andy Ruiz says, the entire Mexican race has supported me a lot and it feels good. I don't want to say that they love me, but I am very proud of everything. We are already in talks with them to fight here in Mexico City, them being Team AJ. I worked and suffered a lot to get where I am right now. Everything is possible. I asked God for help and worked hard. Ask God for help and see how this chubby fighter came to be something. I think I can win that belt. Talking about the WBC belt. It is the only thing I have left to capture. First, I have to win the rematch in December. Then we'll talk to Mauricio Sulaiman, who is the new, current president of the WBC, to see if we can make that fight with Wilder. I had to buy myself out of the top rank contract. I was a bit sad at the time because they did not give me any fights. Since then, I've signed with PBC and they have brought me fights, and thank God I got the opportunity for the World Championship. The negotiations with Joshua are going very well. There will be a fight, but we are working to see where it can happen. Maybe here in Mexico, in the US, or if they want to do it in their land in the UK. That rematch is still worth 50 million or more. We could fill up the Azteca Stadium in Mexico, and that would be historic. Listen, as a boxing fan, this is not, some people are like, why are you saying this? As a boxing fan, I'm telling you, I was a fan before I was a boxing journalist. And as a boxing fan, Andy Ruiz's story is very inspiring. Very, very inspiring. I think everybody should look at this as, a symbol of what could happen if you put your mind to it, if you stay on the guided path and don't give up on yourself, have a belief system. And, I'm happy for him. I'm really happy. And I said this before, in my personal opinion, shifts like this, like Tupac said, change is good for any of us. Whatever it takes to get any of y'all niggas out the hood, shit, I'm with you. I ain't mad at you. Got nothing but love for you. Do your thing. Do 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 do. Change is good for any of us. And I just feel happy because Andy Ruiz, look at his facial expression, bro. He's eating Snickers. He got the Snicker belt of the world. Man, top flight Snicker security of the world, Craig. He looks like, even when he won, he was jumping up like a little kid. This man really got a Snickers belt. I've never even seen that in the heavyweight division. I mean, he looks genuinely happy. And I think he's pretty selfless. I don't think he's just happy for himself. I think he's happy of, obviously his selfish journey, getting dropped from top rank. And then now it's like, I'll show them. People who doubted him from the Joseph Parker fight. He's happy for his race, his ethnicity. He just did something historic. I don't even know if it's sunk in for some people. So I really like him. Deontay Wilder, another charismatic American champion. We got a Mexican American and an American from down south who have all the belts. Eddie Hearns and Anthony Joshua have definitely made a grave mistake because now they have one shot one opportunity. Like Eminem said, if you had one shot, one opportunity to capture it, would you capture it or would you let it slip away? They have one more chance at this thing. And if not, I hate to say, but it's kind of curtains. As far as Joshua being regarded as the man and, talk about Wilder and Fury versus AJ, if Andy Ruiz beats him, especially if he does it worse or the same way, like stoppage or stops him sooner or worse, then I don't see how Joshua is going to be kind of like David Price, Tony Thompson. It's going to be like what could have been type of thing. He could still continue to fight. I'm not saying he has to retire, but it's definitely Andy Ruiz mania, and it'll be Andy Ruiz's time if he could prove it's not a fluke. So Joshua is under the gun, man. He's under pressure. He's going to have to get everything done in 4 to 5 weeks. They're talking about November, December for this rematch. And if Ruiz does it again with the fast hands and, clever game plan and stuff, a full camp, then Eddie Hearn's going to be sick to his stomach. Match room, rematch room, and everybody, because they let all these belts get away and get into the hands of this man right here on the screen, and also his advisor and that side, that faction, Premier Boxing Champs, aka PBC. So very, very interesting, the switching of the guards. And the thing I like, outside of just, me being a lover of a good underdog story, the thing that I personally like about this situation is, if anybody were going to win in such a fashion, I think Andy Ruiz is a good guy. But I also like the fact that this sets up the Wilder fight, and it's much easier to make. From what I've seen from Wilder's side, he gave Tyson Fury an opportunity. People keep acting like Fury got the ESPN deal on the back of the Wilder fight. ESPN never showed him the love when he was fighting Safiri and fighting, Pinata or whatever the dude's name was. When he was fighting those guys, Francisco Pinata, and knocking the candy out them, nobody was even really tripping. The only reason people were entertained in those fights is because there was rumors and rumblings. Heard you want to rumble like an empty stomach. The arrow that from a pummel, what the fuck you gonna do when you run it? Sorry, that's a little Eminem. But we heard the rumblings that Wilder and Fury could be a thing. That's why people were checking for Fury. So realistically, Fury got his deal off of Wilder's name, off of Wilder co-signing him, and the theory that, the Wilder fight could be next. Look how sad Eddie Hearn looks in the back on the screen. He knows he made a mistake. But anyway, people are sleeping on Wilder for that reason. Wilder is definitely not ducking no fades, because there's no reason to fight a guy like Luis Ortiz, who is the boogeyman in the heavyweight division, and then fight Fury next if you were ducking smoke or whatever. So with Wilder's attitude mixed with Andy Ruiz's, what he's telling us, like in this video, hey, after I get past Joshua again, we can fight. Listen, Andy Ruiz is not acting like a diva. Team Joshua, to me, they were acting diva-ish. They were acting like prima donnas, like, oh, Wilder doesn't deserve 50-50. We'll give him this, and if he doesn't want it, take it. Here's a flat fee. 15 million. Okay, this is as much as you're worth. It was a lot of back and forth. Andy Ruiz, he's not really talking about that. He's keeping it flexible. He says, I'll rematch Joshua. I want it in Mexico or the US. Those are my preferred choices. Or if they want to pay like they weigh, we could still do it in the UK. He's not acting like Team Joshua, saying like, oh no, we're not fighting in the UK. He's saying negotiation going good. We're talking about. Eddie Hearns is keep talking like, I don't know what's in the contract because I didn't write it. I didn't read it. But he's acting like he's in the position of ultimate power. I really feel like unless you protected yourself in thorough detail, Andy Ruiz, he's in the position of power. He destroyed your fighter 4 rounds and became a star overnight. He got like 1 million followers off of one performance, in a week. So I think unless there's protective clauses that specified it has to happen in the UK, it has to happen on DAZN, the ball's in Al Heyman's court and Andy Ruiz's court. But I really appreciate and like the way this man you see on the screen is conducting himself. True champion, the heavyweight division. Me, when I was a kid, that was the most popping division. No one was concerned with the little guys as much. No disrespect to the lighter divisions, but the heavyweights were where it's at. I could think of the, people that were before my time, the Ernie Shavers, George Foremans, Muhammad Ali. I shook up the world, the greats, to the Mike Tysons, the Ray Mercers, Tommy Morrison, Lennox Lewis, Evander. It's just tons of great, the Klitschko's later on, tons of great heavyweights. And now we're getting to a point where the control and the power after this one fight with Ruiz and AJ, if Ruiz retains that, it becomes so much easier to facilitate an undisputed fight for boxing fans. None of this power tripping and I control you and all this stuff like that. Wilder sounds down to scrap, and so does Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz is saying, I'm gonna check for it. I want to be undisputed. I want look at what he put. You see this? Cojones. He said what all Mexicans have. Ha ha ha. Big nuts. You see the balls? He said he got bull cojones. He's the new, and between Wilder's attitude, we've seen that for a while, but also Andy Ruiz, he's down to scrap. Eddie Hearn has really messed up with Team Joshua playing the game, and they picked the wrong person. And this is big because I don't care what nobody says. In my view, Andy Ruiz, if he gets past Joshua, proves it's not a fluke and that he could beat Joshua again, then he retains all the titles, and Al Heyman has 100% control, barring, mandatories being ordered or whatever, of the heavyweight division. And that will be a Mexican-American fighter and a black fighter. And we know historically, a Mexican fighter and a black fighter have produced big fights like Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya, or Floyd and Canelo, shit like that. So Andy Ruiz is going to have a full camp to solidify himself, show the world that he's the real deal. And if he does that with all the belts he has, and if he retains that, then this man will be in the position. Oh, that's a dope picture with him and Dre Ward. He'll be in the position to easily make the Wilder fight. And, we're going to have some action. That's just what it is. Just what it is. Wilder has been very courteous of and respectful of Andy Ruiz's win. He said, hey, the man got skills. Interesting fight. Very interesting fight. Wilder's doesn't fight like AJ at all. He's 6'7", so he's a little bit taller. He's faster than AJ. Andy Ruiz has fast hands, good on the counters. It's a good fight. And it could be for all the marbles. So if Andy Ruiz beats Joshua one more time, then it's about to be a wrap, because these fights can come off a lot easier. Even with Top Rank is working with Tyson Fury, and they've already have like pretty much a silent pact that after Wilder gets past his next assignment with Luis Ortiz, Fury gets past his tune-ups, that they're going to rematch. So there's also a working relationship there. So in general, I feel like the rematch room fighters and Eddie Hearn and Dillian White, who has to still get past a very dangerous Oscar Rivas, and AJ has to get, his belts back. But if they don't, then they're going to be kind of left out of the picture, because I don't know how strong the relationship is between the WBC and Eddie Hearn, because so far Dillian White keeps saying, I've been waiting 6,000 days to get a title shot, still ain't got it. Devin Haney got looked over, and then Top Rank and Bob Arum, their fighter Vasyl Lomachenko is fighting Luke Campbell, who's the #1 rated guy. So they seem to be favoring not Eddie Hearn. Wilder Ruiz will be a crazy fight, especially in like LA or somewhere. I mean, you can put it really anywhere. It's an insane fight. And boxing, that's why I try to tell people, these promoters are going to learn. With new media around, they will learn. Death Row East, believe in that. Wilder is the longest standing champion. You got to give him praise. We now see how quickly those heavyweight belts switch hands. Wilder has kept his belt since 2015. I don't care what Ring Magazine or anybody rates Tyson Fury and all that. He had to get rid of his belts. Joseph Parker lost his belt to AJ, and AJ just lost his belt. Wilder has maintained his belt the whole time, and he's taken some fights and he didn't have to win, and he did win them, like Luis Ortiz, Tyson Fury. So, it is what it is, but boxing can change just like that. Let me know what you guys think. Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Wilder. It's looking like it could be a real possibility for 2020 if Ruiz retains his title, and Wilder, of course, has to do the same thing. But very interesting times in the heavyweight division. And this, like I said, is a cautionary tale about waiting and waiting to try to milk, like Wilder was saying to Eddie Hearn, milk the cow, Annabelle. You keep waiting and then you squander the opportunity. And now Joshua may not be the same fighter after what Ruiz did. We got to wait and see how he bounces back. But I can't wait. The heavyweight division is lit. If you're new, consider subscribing to my channel. You know I'm working, and I'm just happy that boxing is delivering this many hits and thrills and spills, and uphill battle for AJ though. Let me know what you guys think. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.